In many ways, people don't want anything to be better than Patty. If Todd Standing's footage is real, and I cannot tell you that they're not real, and I cannot tell you that they are, but if it is real, it's way better than the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Way better.
Something big is spooking residents. Multiple people have claimed to see a large furry animal trudging through the woods.
I literally could see him from all the way over here. I started hearing it. It was very large, and it was running so fast.
Of sorts for campers in Taos County. The Sheriff's Office is sharing safety tips on social media to protect yourself from
Bigfoot.
I saw something out of the corner of my eye off the side of the road in a culvert.
It's not like a bear, and it wasn't like a coyote. I've never seen anything like that.
No details, big, like 10-foot foam, big. I freaked out, hit in the leg.
I don't think it registered what it was.
What's the likelihood that there are big animals that have gone undetected by scientists and by trained observers?
So Les.
Yes, Stacy.
I had a ChatGPT assistant of mine write a little snazzy bio.
Did you pay them?
Just in
Did you pay them well?
No, I don't subscribe. I'm one of them free guys. Use it 5 times a day, then goes to my other account and uses it 5 times there. So I got a little bio for those who may not know you. Les Stroud is a Canadian survival expert, filmmaker, musician, and creator of the hit TV series Survivorman. Known for his authenticity and skill, Stroud pioneered the survival television genre by filming entirely alone in remote wilderness locations, without a crew or assistance. Over his decade-long career, he has inspired millions with his realistic approach to survival, environmental stewardship, and adventure. In addition to his groundbreaking work on Survivorman, Stroud is also an accomplished musician, author, and advocate for reconnecting with nature through knowledge, respect, and resilience.
Kind of sound like a hell of a guy, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
I'm a bunch of bull.
Yeah, right? It said like
I got to thank ChatGPT for that.
It's great, man. It's great. So in that bio, it says Canadian, right? When you were coming up, like trying to break, because you broke into the States, right? Was being Canadian almost like a disability?
It was more like a superpower than a disability.
Did it make it, but seriously, did it make it easier to get on in America? Because Survivorman started out in Canada, right?
I would say in the technical business part of it, a little more difficult. Because you're not there, you're not in the clique, you're not in the crowd, you're not in New York, you're not in LA, you're not in Silver Springs, Maryland at Discovery Channel. You're not there.
Right.
So you're like this quaint little producer up in Canada sort of thing. So on that side of it, it's a little bit trickier. You got to get an in somehow. You got to know somebody that knows somebody. Right. But on the story side of it, maybe a little bit of an advantage, because it's like, well, he's from Canada. He probably lives with moose in the wilderness. He probably not. So there is a little bit of a mythos, to like he's Canadian. And I liked it. I liked being the Canadian guy in amongst, at the time you had Mythbusters, you had Dirty Jobs, Deadliest Catch. And then there's that Canadian guy. He's got this new survival show. So I think maybe a slight kind of, a little bit of cool factor, I think. At least I'm Canadian, so I think that. What
brought it up? Why did you want to do Survivorman to begin with? Because you're sitting there, obviously you want to create something, you're a musician, everything you do is in more an artistic flair. Why did you stick with Survivorman, and what were the other ideas that you didn't go with?
Good question. Nobody's ever asked me that. The simple answer is it's the one that got the yes.
Okay.
So I'm a big believer in the shotgun approach with ideas, where I'm working this idea over here and that one over there and this one over here and another one over there, because I don't know, throwing it against the wall. Let's see which one sticks, right? And I was pitching something called the Canadian Adventure Family. Me, my wife, my 2 kids, we were going to sea kayak the entire coastline of Canada. And for me, it's like just a way to adventure, but I'm going to film it all. Right. I'd already done a documentary film, Snowshoes and Solitude. My wife and I living in the bush for a year. So I was pitching this Canadian Wilderness Adventure Family. I was running camera and editing for Cottage Life Television out of Toronto. And I had this little idea, which I had already had from 1987. So in 1987, I'm taking survival classes. I'm watching really bad videos of how to do a firebow because they're amateurs and bad cameras. And I remember thinking, you know, the way to do that would be if you actually went out and survived and you needed the fire, you put up a camera and you filmed yourself. That would be the way to do it. But in 1987, there were no cameras that could accomplish that. They were big Sony Digi Betacam cameras and big batteries that didn't last. You couldn't do it. And in 2001, actually the Sony VX1000 came along, and it had just barely enough digital or tape quality that you could pass it off for broadcast. Right? It's one thing to film with a camcorder. Broadcast television says we can't take it. QC won't pass it. So I had to wait. So I waited 13 years on my idea. And then in 2000, I called up Discovery Canada and because I saw Mark Burnett was messing around with this Survivor series, which is a bunch of bullshit. And it was just like people, hard bodies doing Outward Bound on an island. And it was all scripted and crap. And he was inventing reality TV is what he was doing. But I thought, well, maybe there's an appetite for real survival. Made a phone call, cold call to Discovery Channel, and I swear to God, this is what she said. She said, we were looking to do something just like this, and we didn't know who to call. I'm your guy, and that's where it started. I got paid $11,000 to do my pilot. That's what I got paid that year. That was it, 11 grand. Now I'm playing Cat Stevens in the bars on the weekend, to put diapers on my babies, and I'm going out, I'm gonna be Survivorman. I was talking with a friend today, I said, you gotta realize I was Survivorman for 5 years before my revenue broke the poverty line. People don't see that side of the story.
Right. How old were your kids when you were gonna kayak the damn Canadian wilderness?
4 and 6.
Y'all don't have like DCF or somebody up there that...
What's DCF?
Department of Children and Families or anything in Canada? It's just like y'all run wild?
We have meddling brothers and sisters-in-laws who think, what do you think you're doing? You guys are crazy. You can't do that.
Right.
You should talk to doctors. Oh, my God. It's like, no. But, I was living in the bush. I was an outdoor guide for 15 years. All I did was paddle a canoe and hang out, in territories where there was polar bears, So I knew all that stuff. I was an adventurer. And my wife was the same. So we took our kids everywhere. We had them sea kayaking, and I figured they'd be maybe, 5 and 7 by the time we landed that series. But instead, I got the call back on Survivorman first.
Right.
That was kind of the rest is history in a way for me.
So, did you start on Discovery Canada, or did they bring you straight into the States?
Another good question. Started on Discovery Canada with a pilot. They loved it. Best ratings in 3 years. Can you do something else? I said, well, the winter time? Okay. Went up, did a winter pilot. Loved it. Best ratings. Amazing. Great. And then I'm just sitting there, and actually here's what happened. I'm in the hallways of Discovery Canada, and the 2 pilots have been on. They did so well. Everybody knew about them. And I'm walking down the hallway, and like some editor would go by and go, hey, Survivorman, what's happening? Saw you on the 2. And I thought, that sounds pretty cool. Survivorman. Sounds like a superhero. And then I thought, damn it, this is a series.
Is that where you got the name from?
Exactly that. Someone shouting it out in the hallway of Discovery Channel. Just nicknamed me Survivorman. The show was called 1 Week in the Wilderness with Les Stroud, right? And somebody nicknamed me Survivorman, and I thought that is cool. That's got it right there. If they're gonna naturally call me that, I'm not gonna shy from it. So then I pitched it as a series, and Discovery Canada. Here's a good point on this. I took it into a woman named Jill Hoffman. You could hear her stilettos click as she came down the hallway. Every head turned. She was the new head of Discovery Canada, and she was going to blaze a trail. She was going to change everything. And I went in and I said, these 2 pilots are kicking ass. Like, I could do a series. And I'm thinking, like, maybe I could go around the world. I'm thinking, modestly, but who knows, right? I swear to God, she looked directly at me and condescendingly, oh, Les. Here's what the head of Discovery Channel said. No one is ever going to want to watch people survive on television. That's what she said to me. And I said, in my brain, I'm like, you're wrong. You are so wrong. This has worked for 2 years now. Pilot. It's worked. A year and a half. So I walked down the hall, went into another office at the Outdoor Life Channel, and Anna Stambolic said, you're kidding. Jane passed? hell yeah, we'll take it. And Survivorman was born. And then I contacted Discovery Channel US. I sent them one of the pilots, and Steve Burns said, we'll take it. And they were so enamored with it, he watched the first 2 episodes, and as an executive producer, and anyone in television production will know what this means when I say this, after that he said, I don't need to see them, Les, just send them in. That never happens, because they want to give you notes and you got to change a million things. He just looked at 2 cuts and said, I love it. Just send the rest in.
Even without having a hard body.
Without no hard body, just me. My naked ass made it in a couple of shots.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Right on.
And that's kind of the rest is history in a way, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking you were like a Marvel or a DC guy, and you maybe had like drawn sketches of yourself, you know, surviving,
now,
like with the panties on.
No, but now I keep fantasizing that, man, I would just love it if they gave me the call and said, okay, Marvel, now today's Marvel is going to do the Canadian superheroes, and I'll get to be one of those, Captain Canuck or some shit. Like
Captain Canuck, is that a real?
That's
guy?
a real.
Oh,
yeah, and
okay,
another one really embarrassing is named Puck. I.e. hockey.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, anyway.
Nice. So I guess we'll get into, well, I want to ask you about your life growing up, right? And we should probably start it with that. But what was it like for Les Stroud growing up, you know?
Jeez.
Who'd you look up to?
Oh, how much time have you got, man? Who I looked up to? I looked up to Jacques Cousteau.
Okay.
I looked up to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, you know, Carl Perkins or whatever their names were. Those guys. Anything nature, I just drank that stuff in, you know. If there was any kind of Disney special, it was nature. Those were my mentors and heroes, I would suppose, more than anything else. Before I discovered music, it was always nature stuff. But not if you're going to ask me, like, did I have an uncle? Or I had one uncle who was a hunter and a fisherman.
Right.
And I did look up to him that way. He's also, you know, major raging alcoholic too.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
You know, as my whole family was. So I had zero background in wilderness anything. I grew up in West End, Toronto, you know, and as I became a teenager, I was listening to Zeppelin and Styx and smoking pot and drinking beer and
so like a
no adventure.
Hippie-ish family, you would say?
Not at all. No, not at all. No, more of a nuclear 1960s family, pre-hippie. You know,
okay.
That'd be the age of my mother and father anyway. So dysfunctional family background, big time.
Oh, damn, I didn't mean to bring up bad shit.
Yeah. No, I don't mind, because, you know, that's one of the realities is, you know, whenever you're listening to people talk and stuff, you know, it's sometimes our backgrounds are, if they're not shocking, they're like, really? Like, I guess, like, yeah, totally strange. I mean, I was chatting with it earlier today. I literally have one cousin that I communicate with out of an entire family. End of story. And I'm not saying that for any purpose or agenda. It's just that that's the reality. That's my reality. So on the wilderness side of it, I could only look up to what I saw on TV. Mm-hmm. And even then I was told, I remember asking my mother if I could be a National Geographic photographer. And she said to me, that's for rich people.
Nice.
And walked away. I was like 10 years old. But somewhere later on, I just thought, nope, you're wrong. You're wrong. I can do this. I think someday I'm going to do this.
So did you pursue music before the Survivorman thing? Were you ever like pushing a band, touring, doing anything like that? Or
music hit me when I was 14 when I heard Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John.
Okay, good one.
I was always into it, all sorts of novelty music, this and that. But when I heard that album, I just went, what is this? This is rock music? And that was it, because I was 14, right? And maybe 13, 14. And then I never looked back. Then I was still... See, the funny thing is, I think that I stopped being anything to do with wilderness as a teenager because I was rock and roll, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Oh, right? Yeah.
But then again, like my buddies will remind me, dude, we used to nickname you Ewell Gibbons, which is a guy who used to teach wild edible plants. So when I was 16, I'd still be like, you know, you can eat these, guys. I was just this little wilderness, freak in my mind, and partying and all that stuff. And then music took over because I mean, it was a whole other, and I found I had an affinity for it, and I was not an athlete, had the dysfunctional family background, kind of had nothing going on until music. And then I realized, like, I'm good with words. I could carry a melody. What is this? I actually got something here. And I stuck with that right through into music college. I learned recorded music production in a studio setting and all that sort of stuff. And came out playing in bands in Toronto, played in a David Bowie clone band and I was the guitar player.
Clone band?
Clone band, tribute band.
Oh, okay.
Right. In Toronto, we always called them clone bands.
Yeah, it's got to be
Like
metric
ZZ
or
Top,
something
we had
different.
Tres Hombres, Genesis, we had a musical box, like all that sort of stuff. So I was in the Diamond Dogs.
Okay.
I was a guitar player, which was great because I had really good chops then. I was playing Stevie Ray Vaughan, Carlos Alomar, and Mick Ronson all at the same time, right? So we had a great singer, and we were doing Toronto gigs as the Diamond Dogs, man. And then pushing for record deals on our original stuff and things like that, which
of
we
course.
did get. We got my band, New Regime. We signed for the biggest financial signing in Canadian history for a small band. And the
wow.
day we signed, I quit because the guys put all the money up. No, probably shouldn't say it, but I will. They put it all up their nose.
Of course.
And I walked away. I'm like, I'm out, guys. I'm out. I had actually become really clean at that point.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm done. You guys,
That's why I quit. I just couldn't. It was the only way to get off the cocaine, and it was the only way to get off of drinking.
get away from the
I had
scene.
to cut everybody off.
Yeah.
You know, because
You have to.
What's the point, dude? These people are still. You know what I mean? And I'm like looking at myself. I'm like, I can do more than this. You know, I want to be Kurt Cobain, but I don't want to be Kurt Cobain. You know, I like living.
That's one of the things that I've always enjoyed about my time with you, is I've always sensed a similarity in that. Look, I had nothing but toxicity around me growing up. You know, nothing but that. I mean, as I knew your dad really well and your mom, lovely people. So it's a little different. But in the neighborhood, it's just fucking toxic. Can I swear?
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking toxic everywhere. We had bike gangs where I grew up, tons of drugs. We were the biggest school in Toronto for drugs in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I grew up with. So at some point around the age of 23, 4, 5, I just thought to myself, either stop or I'm going to be loading boxes on pallets for the rest of my life in the back of Samco sales. You know, I can't do this, man. I got more on the ball. And
I didn't ever do drugs until I was 18, and then it was just like fast forward into all of it, you know, because it was a curiosity, because, wow, I like this. How is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I didn't grow up with no issues. I mean, Dad whooped my ass, but I deserved it, you know. But then just everybody else in the music scene was doing it and stuff, and I'm like, hell, these guys are having a good time, you know, but they don't tell you about the 7 a.m. I got to be at work at 3 or at 8, and then I'm looking at the ceiling and still ain't went to sleep.
Well, you know,
you know?
One of the things I changed my mind on over the years, you know, there was always that big argument, debate of, is marijuana a gateway drug? And the naysayers, it's a gateway drug. And I'm just like, it is just pot. You know what? I changed my mind on that. It was a gateway drug for me, because at some point pot wasn't enough.
Right.
When pot wasn't enough, what else could I do? Oh, what do you? I'll take one of those. Well, I need a little more. I'll take a couple more of those. Oh, maybe I'll snort a little bit of this. You know, and I was on that pathway.
Right.
You know, until I just kind of stopped. You know.
So I guess we should talk about Bigfoot. You know, you got this new film coming out.
Right.
I know you've been wanting to make this film since I was sitting in a jail cell with you in Missouri for that movie.
Yeah. Glad you qualified that. You can just leave it there. We'll explain that another time.
That's when you first talked to me about you were wanting to make this kind of, you know, the way you see it should be done. Mm-hmm. Talk about the way you think it should be done, you know, because you've seen the Bigfoot films. Yeah. They are copy, paste, no creativity, no originality. So I guess talk about how you should be done, and what, I guess I'm interested into hearing what you think should be different. How do you break out of that mold? Because it's very hard to go into something when all you've seen is the same monotonous garbage over and over and over again. It's hard to think of another idea. The power of suggestion, I guess. You want to fall into that rut, so
it's tricky, isn't it? It's like there's some silos here, right, of this phenomenon, the idea of doing films about Bigfoot and even paranormal for that matter. One of the silos that's happening now is basically everybody and their brother or sister has an A7S III and Final Cut Pro and a drone. So now, you know, they are getting nice imagery. They are getting beautiful drone shots. Padded music. Use AI. They got big music now. All of a sudden, you've got without being disrespectful, but you have people with very little experience in filmmaking, making films, giving them a great thumbnail, cutting together a killer trailer, you know, or letting AI cut it and putting it out there. Now you go to watch it, and it was just like in 1987 when I was watching survival films. I'm a nerd. I'm going to watch every single frame of somebody teaching me how to do a firebow. In the Bigfoot community, we're all going to watch these stupid films anyway because we're nerds about it. But the truth is, when you look at it, there's no content. There's no narrative arc. There's no story arc. There's no depth to it. It's just I've got a great camera. I've got Final Cut Pro, you know, and my brother can, you know, frame a shot nice. It's just that. So that's one silo, and that's happening a lot. And, you know, hey, God bless them for doing their stuff. It's great. Some of them will accidentally happen on some cool stuff, but it's not professional quality filmmaking, right? The next one are filmmakers who get into it, but they aren't really into the phenomenon. They just see this as an opportunity to make money, you know, maybe get a series on a bigger channel, on a real channel, you know. And I've never been, you know, shy about my disdain for finding Bigfoot. I think Cliff and Bobo, I've never met Bobo, but he sounds like a wonderful human being. I know Cliff is because I've now spent time with him. Cool dude. And so I've never really, that I can remember, dissed the people. But you want me to start talking about Ping Pong Productions and the people who produce this stuff, who are in charge, who make all the money? Oh, I'll throw them under the bus all day long because they don't care. They don't care about the phenomenon. They just know how to make it. They've got a direct email to the head of Discovery or Nat Geo or somebody like that. So that's another silo, is the filmmakers, right? And so what they're doing is they capitalize on the sensationalism of it. And we end up with a Finding Bigfoot series, powerful, popular, lucrative as shit. But I think it really disrespected Cliff and Bobo and I guess the others too. Because now I know what they really wanted to do, but they didn't have the power, right? It's producer guy over here who's saying, no, here's what we're going to do next, you know? Bunch of bullshit. So lastly, I think you have space and an opportunity to try to combine experienced filmmaking with the phenomenon and the story. And that's what I'm looking for. Now, I'm not going to say that the work you do or the work that a David Paulides does or even maybe a Todd Standing, I'm not going to throw you guys under the bus and say, that's not good stuff, because you guys actually are edging into that next level of, okay, the skill's there and they have the friggin' knowledge. That's the combination I'm always looking for. For me personally, though, to end it, is to say that a lot of those films are phenomenal for the Bigfoot community. As I said, we're going to geek out on it no matter what. We're going to watch it. I could do anything in Bigfoot tomorrow and put it out, and I already know the community's going to watch it. And I don't mean that as an arrogant prick. I just know. We're nerds. It's what we do. Oh, another Bigfoot film? Oh, it's Survivorman? I'm going to watch this. And I could put crap out there, but I can't. My heart can't do that. So I want to do a film, though, for Joey. I want to do a film where someone who thinks it's cute, but it's a bunch of bullshit. I want that person to sit down. I'll sum it up by this. Here's my final summary. I want someone like a Joey or my buddy Greg, I want them to sit there and watch it, and at the end of it go like this, just they're watching, and at the end I want them to go, huh.
Right.
Holy shit. If I can get that out of someone who thinks it's just funny, you know, I call it the Thanksgiving dinner table giggle. And it's when you get, Uncle Les, I hear you believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That's what it's that. I want that person to look at a film that I do and go, F me.
So with the giggle, okay, our grandparents didn't have that giggle. It wasn't taboo. Monkey Man, the booger, you know, whatever was out there, just a fact. At some point in the last 60, 70 years, it became taboo. Okay. You notice this, right? Why do you think that is?
Rather than think of it as taboo, I think of it more now as it's a cultural punchline. It's a joke.
Right.
It started, first of all, whoever named it Bigfoot in 1957 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the first thing. Bigfoot. It's a cartoon name. It continued with Harry and the Hendersons. It continued with the $6 Million Man. Hell, it's in the Marvel comics, you know? And so not to just only Finding Bigfoot, but it was cemented with Finding Bigfoot. I've always said this, you know, and apologies to Bobo. Again, I hear nothing but phenomenal words about that man. And I know that Cliff and Bobo, they're the real deal. They're in this. Cliff's probably out there right now, you know, looking for tracks. So I hand it hands down to them, and they're, you know, for going after the phenomenon. But if you're going to play into, you know, it's squatchy.
Right.
You've done it, right? Like right then and there, you've given the skeptic the chance. Well, I don't want to give the person the chance to relax. I don't want them to get any break just yet. And when you say, it's squatchy, then they go, oh, it's just a joke anyway. It's all kind of funny. And I think that was a mistake. And again, I don't blame it on those guys. I blame it on the executive producers who are forcing them and pushing them and say it again, say it again.
Oh, it was all the way down the line, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
all
awful.
the way down the line.
It's awful. So I think it's a cultural punchline. And honestly, dude, right now, one of the reasons why I'm doing the question of Bigfoot is I'd like to kind of wrestle it back from being a cultural punchline. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Right. I guess without getting into too much of it, because you obviously don't want to spoil your movie, but what, I guess, would be the coolest thing you've come across so far? Maybe somebody said, maybe somebody showed you, the coolest point anyone's made to you this whole trip?
Well, notwithstanding what I know you personally believe, because you and I are familiar, I gotta say, when Meldrum, you know, rest in peace, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, explained to me, because I was still confused, when he explained to me and we started talking about the possibility of ape versus hominid, and then we went down the hominid road and we started talking about what happened 30,000 years ago. And then I started to realize, you mean there were like 7 to maybe 9 versions of us, all alive, all at the same time, standing on this planet, at the same time, making out, having babies, 30,000 years ago to 20 to 10,000 years ago? That changed the game for me.
Right.
Because never mind where else we could go with the phenomenon, that made it just biologically possible. Like, oh my God. So what we're really talking about here is possibly this amazing species in terms of attributes and all the rest of that, but nonetheless, just simplified, this amazing hominid species that, you know what? They didn't go extinct. They've remained elusive and responsible for thousands and thousands of references, from biblical and ancient writings to recent sightings and rock throwings and all the rest. And it really kind of brought it home for me. It's like, oh my God, this is not only plausible, it's possible that there's a very well hidden, elusive species with a serious skill set and set of attributes of things that we can't do,
Right.
and which scares people. And that was really interesting because Jeff often, he goes into the metatarsus and the feet and the casting. I didn't ask him a single thing about feet.
Right.
We never talked about foot bones once in the whole interview. But I did get him to explain it. I thought that was cool. The next thing that was cool, and this is one I know you'll like, is when you're talking with people and they'll go, like, I'm happy to talk about this stuff, but listen, man, like, we're not going to talk about the woo, are we? I don't really want to talk about the woo. You know, and I've had like a half a dozen people say, I don't want to talk about the woo. 5, 10, 15 minutes later, they're talking about ghosts.
Right.
Angels and demons, their belief in God. One of the things I do with people, and I'm going to do with you tomorrow, so don't answer me now.
Yeah.
When we go out tomorrow, I ask this question. Rate for me on a scale of believability. God, angels and demons, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot. And every single person puts Bigfoot last on a scale of believability. So they put aliens, ghosts, demons, and God above Bigfoot on a scale of believability. But if you're going to look at empirical and anecdotal evidence, all these 4 together don't add up to what Bigfoot has.
Jesus don't leave tracks outside my tent.
Not the last time I saw.
You know what I mean?
Well, I would think around your tent it'd be more demons, but
Hey, you know, people like to have a good time.
But you know what I mean? It's this, and I don't want to call them. They're not hypocrites. It's just I think there's a fear. It's like I'm happy to talk about the ghosts that my aunt sees in the lodge every year, but I don't want to talk about Bigfoot possibly being telepathic.
Right.
I just find that, come on, man, you're cherry picking.
Yeah, of course. So with both sides of it, because I know kind of how you lean with the telepathic stuff. Do you still see it, even though you had the telepathic experience? Do you still see it as what they call a flesh and blood creature, right? That just has this ability, or do you maybe see it something that's closer to the Native Americans and said where it walks between worlds?
Wow, it's a big question, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the easiest answer is I don't have a freaking clue.
Right.
But do I give it more? I have no problem saying, do I give it more than being a big smart ape? Absolutely. It's just, I think the big smart ape, and no offense to Dr. Jeff Meldrum and Cliff and all these individuals, no offense at all, guys. You are on the money with everything that you're thinking and going after and researching. But to me, I still see the big smart ape answering about 40 to 50% of the question. There's another 50 to 60% that's unanswered. And I have to go to a highly skilled, savant, autistic type of, scenario where this species has skills and abilities. I mean, he was 10 years old, I'm sure he's much older now, kid whose savant ability was hiding in plain sight. That was what he was, a savant. Hiding in plain sight.
God, it would suck to be his parent.
Right. So now, exactly.
Now
you got,
out, dude.
the math people and the 3-year-old that gets up and plays, Tchaikovsky on the piano and all that stuff, right? And I just think, what if this species is just like, they live and breathe some of these more out there skills, like as if they were all savant, like every single one of them was savant in the ability to exist on this planet in stealth, in elusiveness, and I probably, I know with my film, I'm not going to go into all the rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into aliens. I'm not going to go into portals. I'm not going to talk about the grays. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Mostly because I only got 90 minutes.
Right.
But I want to really hit up what I'm on now. And the thing about the telepathy thing is I don't have an option there. I experienced it, so I got to deal with it.
Right.
Or I'm not being true to myself. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I can have people get all nervous laughter if I mention telepathy, but then I'd say, you know what? Listen to the telepathy tapes. Go there, listen to that podcast, which is all about these young autistic children.
Did you believe it?
Come on. Yeah, I totally, I had no problem buying that. Because I've seen it before. And I mean, they were 100% correct, not 99.
Right.
100% correct. You know? Oh, that was not P.T. Barnum and Bailey. That wasn't a scam. Those are, I know, okay, the
See, it's like I have no problem believing Bigfoot people.
There you go.
But then when it came to that,
you think it's a scam.
Well, there was some things she said that didn't sit right with me. The way she talked.
You're cherry picking and twisting. Like,
I'm not cherry picking. I know when I hear. Right, and my meter went off.
Okay, all right. But you're not there.
But I don't throw it out when I still listen to all of it.
Well, and don't forget, what we're watching. Someone else edited that. A producer decided what he was going to keep in the interview.
Right,
all of that happened. So if you're sitting in the room with the mother, that might be a different story, right? But the point of that story is, there we go. The point of that story is that we will accept talking about all these other things with humans, like telepathy and so on. Mm-hmm. The transference of thought energy. It's all. Then you say, well, what if Sasquatch has that ability? Oh, you're a fruitcake. You're nuts. You're crazy. You're whacked. I was like, oh, for God's sake. Yeah, well, how about ghosts? Well, ghosts are real.
Yeah. Well, I believe in telepathy. But it was just her presentation didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Like when I listened to Joe Rogan.
That was only one.
Yeah, I listened to Joe Rogan.
I know who you mean. You mean the woman who was like, she was being a presenter.
I don't know. It's just like, if you set it up like NPR, I'm going to think it's no matter what. It's hard for me to believe that because there's no real authenticity there. You're worried about pushing boundaries and things like that. And to me personally, I also want to throw the disclaimer out there. I'm most of the time wrong about everything. So
I'll back you on that.
You know what I mean?
I'll vouch for you.
Okay.
But you have your filters that you place when you're watching this stuff, and I have mine.
Right.
Right. And it's, but let's blow a little smoke up everybody's ass for a moment here. But the beauty is, you and I have been hanging out for a few years now, and this is one of the reasons is, take this the right way. I don't have access to an individual like you in my world. I don't. So I was like, no, you got to understand. I really like Stacy. It's like a brother from another mother, man. Because you're a North Florida boy. I'm a guy from Toronto, Canada.
Right.
And everything couldn't be more than different. And so I like the access to your brain, for better, for worse. I like the access to it because your brain's going to work different than mine. So then when we watch the telepathy tapes, you're definitely going to filter it differently than I will.
So speaking about Canada.
That freaked me out for a quick second.
I bet it did.
Yeah.
We got a special guest coming, everybody. Just hold 1 second. Speaking of Canada, 51st state. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah. You know what? I talked to you on the phone right after that.
Yeah.
And you said to me,
I was trying to sell it to you.
I have actually told the story. I said, I got to tell you, I was talking to my buddy in Florida on the phone, and here's what he said. I've probably told this story like 4 or 5 times at a party. Here's what he said. He goes, dude, because you were serious.
I'm dead ass serious.
Dude, would it really be that bad? I'm like, dude, we're another country, man. I was like, no, it's not that it would be bad. We don't give, no, no. Like, no, absolutely fuck no.
Yeah.
Absolutely fuck
I get it.
And that's it. I don't, man, I got a lot of beautiful American friends. And I've been living in the States for 10 years now. I'm married an American.
Yeah.
But I am a Canadian blood all the way through.
Yeah.
And we are a different breed. We are. I'm glad to be. You guys are a different breed. And Europeans are a differerent breed. And New Zealanders are a different breed. Well, Canadians are a different breed. We're not Americans. And all the bullshit of, we say sorry too much and we're polite. It's all true.
Right.
We're really like that. And I enjoy that,
Yeah.
And I don't get political. But your 51st state idea. That's not a chance, man.
I was hoping
elbows
to get
up
some
for all the
insurance.
Canadians is what I say, which is cheesy as shit. It's like, really, elbows up? That's what we got? We're going to say elbows up? It was cheesy. But nonetheless.
I was hoping to get some insurance out of the deal.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it, right?
Speaking of Canadian, I had a fan question.
Oh.
Yeah.
I charge extra for fan questions.
On one of your podcasts, you had spoke about your sexuality, and you called it Canadian straight. Can you cover what that is?
First of all, I have no recollection
It happened.
of saying that.
One of my listeners did this, but the show hasn't aired till November 14th, so it's probably just me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canadian straight.
Yeah, that's what we call it down here. Okay, serious question. You caught a lot of shit for Todd Standing being on Survivorman Bigfoot, which, I'm gonna be honest, funny story. I got invited to go to the area you went to, by Todd's minion, I guess. This guy named Kyle. He's like, yeah, I want you to come up and show you all of it, yada yada. He just cold calls me. I think I'm getting invited, and he's like $5,000. Yeah. It's like, yeah, go have intercourse with yourself. But I believe one of his pieces of footage is real. The one where it's running up that, I don't know what it's called, but it's like slate, and it falls when you step on it.
Yeah.
That damn thing. Okay, that shit sprints up there. I've tried to do that, can't do it.
No.
I believe that was real.
Okay.
Rest of them,
Okay.
I think shit. I think he's made stuff to, and I don't fault him for it. This man has had encounters with Bigfoot. I'm not going to argue that. That one video, I 100% believe it. I don't think it can be recreated. Everybody talks shit about it. Figure it out, buddy. But I think he's faked stuff to keep money rolling in and to keep his research going, right? It's kind of the deal that, what's the guy, Paul Freeman, was kind of accused of as well. However, what are your thoughts? You know the man. You've been out with the man. Let's hear the non-edited TV version to tell all these people, because I can't believe he's hanging out with Todd Standing. He must be a hoax or blah, blah, blah. The stupid, they didn't get invited on, so they're mad.
Yeah.
What do you got to say about all that?
Well, I'll try to keep the story short.
Yeah.
Within the Bigfoot community, the thing with Mr. Standing is that he's a very passionate soul, right?
Right.
And so to be around Todd, you have to be aware of this. We all have our personalities. We all have our personality quirks. Todd is 100% Bigfoot. He's in it for life, right?
Right.
So a lot of passion there. And it can be difficult to be around if you don't read this, if you don't see that, read his personality and go, okay, and I'm going to go with this, And then he comes up and he has these bits of footage and so on. The thing about those videos, like the facial videos and stuff, that I like to point out is, if they're real, let's go with that. If Todd Standing's footage is real, and I cannot tell you that they're not real, and I cannot tell you that they are, and neither can you. You can look at it, you can do what Joe Rogan did with me, you can look at it and go, that's a bunch of bull. You don't know. You don't know. I've had the content in my hands, and I'm a professional filmmaker with my professional film editor, and we could not tell you that, oh, this has been done. Not at all. Couldn't do that. Okay, so I'm on neither side. But if it is real, okay, then it's way better than the Patterson Gimlin footage. Way better.
Right.
Right. Now, what did I just say there? Almost sacrilege. Whoa, that's blasphemy. That's our Patty. Don't talk about our Patty like that.
Oh,
people
yeah.
don't want anything. In many ways, people don't want anything to be better than Patty. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's our heroic piece of footage. So Stacey Brown Jr. Puts one up there, you're going to be crucified as well if it's better, because they don't want it to be better. Well, if that footage is real, it's way better. Now, as far as whether or not it's fake, I can't say, but I know that because back to his challenging, passionate personality, then someone gets to not liking him. So now they've just decided, well, then his footage is fake. Right. Why? Because you don't like him? Because you didn't like his presentation at the conference?
Right.
There's a lot of presentations at conferences that they're awful. So maybe you didn't like the way he spoke. Maybe it's too much confidence for you. But what I will give him is this. Boots on the ground, few people put into the boots on the ground that he does. It's constant. I'd say maybe Cliff. Like Cliff's still out three times a week. Got to hand it that guy. And he's not as old as I am, and he's fit, man. We were trying to keep up with him, film with him. It's like, oh my God, he's boogie. And when someone can go through the forest like that, he's out here a lot. You can't just do that. Well, Todd's the same way. He's a beast out there, and he's always out there. So I say, you can't make that judgment. You got to spend time with him. You got to go out with him. I'm not backing him either. I'm not saying
Right.
I'm here on Todd Standing's behalf or anything like that. I can't tell you it's fake. I can't tell you it's real. But what I can tell you is he got me up to the top of the mountain in Radium Springs, and that was a powerful experience, you know. And he was very generous about it. When I went out with Cliff, very generous about, let's go out. Because they recognized I was for real too. Never mind the fact that I'm from the world of television and filmmaking, I was also real about this stuff. So the Todd thing is, so now, you were talking, should I put him in this new film, And as I said, the rebel in me is like, if you're going to tell me not to, well, I'm going to do it. Don't tell me not to put people would tell me not to put Stacey Brown Jr. in my film.
Oh, of course.
Don't put that Florida cracker in your film. Are you kidding me? Forget it. The guy's a redneck. Don't. Screw you.
I really had a buddy ask me, why does he like hanging out with you?
And I'm still trying to figure it out.
I was like,
well, because it's the American.
Yeah, right? This is Southern
or American
charm.
straight.
The Southern charm is what we call it.
Well, the reality is, I'm not going to judge people like that. Like I'm getting time in now. I had time with Mr. Jeff Meldrum, with you, with a David Politis, with Todd Standing, with Cliff Barrickman, and in many ways, I'll tell you a quick story about Todd. Actually, in many ways, like we're all a bunch of freaks. I did a talk at a symposium one time, and I said, "Do you guys realize something?" There's like, friggin' 800 people in the room. I said, outside those doors, it was a conference center, right? Outside those doors, everybody in this room, we're all a bunch of freaking whack jobs. That's what they think. Right outside that door, everybody, all of us, me on this stage and all of you in your seats, you're all a bunch of whack jobs. What's going on in there? Bigfoot convention. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So, where was I going to go with that? I was with Todd. Damn it.
We're
I lost
all
my
whack
track.
jobs.
Well, yeah. I think I'll give the time to everybody and not disrespect them. And as I said, I will diss and talk about the show and the production Finding Bigfoot any day with Cliff. I'll talk about it. And we commiserated, believe me. But the people, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to throw Ron Moorhead under the bus? Am I going to throw you under the bus? It's like,
Right.
we don't even know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, we're all, you know, you're on governmental conspiracies and the Greys and all sorts of paranormal stuff, and lots of other people are looking for a Gigantopithecus and everything in between. And, you know, I'm not going to judge Todd. I mean, he did me no wrong. You
Right,
know?
right.
I mean, sure, his enthusiasm, when I'm in charge, I will tamp it down, as is my want. But, you know, other than that, what am I going to say about him? Like I said, he does what he does. And you know what? You got to hand it to him again as well for in terms of the commitment. That guy went in court to try to get the BC government to protect it as a species. He put his name, everything on the line, and went and filed a court case to do it. I mean, you aren't doing that. I didn't do it.
Right.
You know, it's like you got to hand it to him for that. And if you don't like his personality and you don't like the way he presents, well, then don't listen to him. Go pay attention to Stacy instead, or Les instead,
Right.
you know, or Cliff instead. You know, because it's definitely it's a community of interesting
It's toxic.
people.
It's toxic.
I think it's getting better. We were talking about this earlier. I think it's getting less toxic, believe it or not. And one of the reasons is you're starting to see the great ape side of the equation go, you know, I got to admit, there's some stuff going on I can't explain anymore. Oh,
Right.
interesting. The conversation happens now. So at least I hope it becomes less toxic.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like high school. That's why I kind of removed myself.
Oh, life is
out
like,
of it,
I
you
mean, so
know,
much.
and-
I mean, look, I've been on Joe Rogan twice, but in the end, it's like being at a high school party with guys who just have the gift of gab. It's like, dude, shut up. You know, it's like, I put it down
How was that
to,
like? Not to
What's
interrupt
that?
you, but how was the Rogan? Because like when I watched the second one you did,
Yeah.
he's like,
Well, story behind the second one.
okay, I gotta hear it because it pissed me off. I was like, man, you, Joe Rogan.
Well, first of all, we went out partying
Okay,
and with Louis C.K.
okay.
And we started that podcast at 1 a.m.
Right.
My son was with me, and at 1 a.m. and we were drinking, and I'm just like, and he can go, he can party. I'd lost my party edge since I was younger, right? So now it's like we're into this, getting into this stuff at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm like bagged. So I didn't have my gift of articulation, my gift of gab. I didn't have my wit.
Right.
He lives and breathes that time of night and that edge, right? So when he decided, he went there, he was ready to attack Todd Standing's imagery,
Right.
And he attacked on, I just didn't have my usual comebacks.
Yeah.
I did my comebacks. I had no ammunition. My gun was empty, man. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm bagged, and that's my 6th Guinness.
The only thing I got against him is he said Bigfooters are unfuckable white dudes.
Right. You know why that happened? My understanding is he went out with some
Right here,
unfuckable. Well, you know, you notwithstanding, I think he went out with some unfuckable white dudes, and he didn't like it, and he thought this is a bunch of bullshit,
Right.
and that's unfortunate. So would I like to say, dude, let me give you some time out there to show you, you know, what it can be like, and I think that's what happened, and it turned him off because I think almost secretly he still is like, man, I think it's got to be real. I think, you know, it's like that, like
That flame
somewhere
don't
in
go
there,
away.
you know.
That flame don't go away. Once it's lit,
Right.
yeah, somebody be interested in it.
Yeah.
But speaking of, you're probably not going to see a Bigfoot on your whole entire trip, mainly because you don't know what you're doing. But I
And I'm
do
with
know
you.
what I'm doing, and I brought Bigfoot here with us tonight. Bigfoot, if you'll
See, this
come
is why
join
I'm here,
us
man.
and sit down
this
on
is
the
why
rock,
I'm here, brother.
introduce yourself. Yeah,
See now
nice
the
to
suits.
see you again.
The suits are getting better and better,
They
but this
are.
is the real deal, so that's what changes it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, you got
That
a
is,
little.
you know, I would not want
you
to.
got a tick on you? Oh, some leaves. Okay.
I would not want to see this standing in the dark forest on a trail
No,
at night.
people do though.
You scare the crap out of a lot of people. Yeah.
What would you think? What do you honestly think? You know yourself, and don't ego, bravado shit.
Yeah.
What would you think? What would you do?
I think I'd freeze.
Yeah.
I think I'd completely freeze.
Yeah.
I keep hearing stories of people who pee their pants,
Right.
just like instant. You know, I know that kind of fear. I think I'd have to. You know what was interesting? Ask Cliff Barrickman, what would you do? And here's what he did. I swear to God, I'll show you, and it's going to be in the film. He said, "I'll show you what I do. I do this."
Okay, Camelot.
Yep, the whole.
Whatever, dude. What's Bigfoot about to knight you?
Well, I think, no, it was more a matter of the reality that what are you going to do? Look at the muscles on the guy. Look at the size of it. One swipe and my neck's broken.
Oh, for sure.
I think I'd be very scared, but I think I would, because I've been going there for so long and I've had this guy, you know, in a tree, I believe, you know, I think kind of the same thing. I think I'd think about submission. What does submission look like to save my life? To hope I've got a dude as nice as this one. Because I know you've got cousins and brothers and aunts and uncles that ain't so nice, right? And that part I don't even want to think about. I want to run into this guy, not his cousin that just got out of Bigfoot prison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What would you do?
What did I do?
What did you do?
What did
you
I?
saw one in the Sierra Nevadas?
And in Chattahoochee.
And Chattahoochee.
And Chattahoochee.
You've seen this guy twice.
Twice.
And let's clarify that right now.
Okay.
It's not just you.
No, it's not.
There's like, we don't know how many more of your cousins and relatives are out there. So you've seen two, Sierra and okay, go.
Oh, what?
Or I'll ask you tomorrow when we're filming, but really quickly,
so,
what did you do?
The first time I just didn't know what to do. You had that feeling where, okay, you got a phone call. There's nothing you can do. It's helplessness. That's it.
Where did you see it, the first one?
Over Carolyn's.
But how far away?
Into the firelight, so however far that shined.
And standing, running, walking?
Standing, stepped out, looked at us, turned around, walked off.
And the next one?
The next one, we were coming around a trail, and I was with Justin Smea, and he said, bear, and he grabbed me by the backpack, and when he grabbed me by the backpack, this thing stood up, and I couldn't tell what it was at the moment. I'm thinking bear, so I'm hauling ass, right? And we come back to the road. It has to cross this little field, and that's when we see it. Now, mind you, the reason we went down that trail was to get thermal footage of what we thought were bear cubs in a tree, because I seen them from a distance. I'm like, let's sneak up there. So as we're sneaking up there, my camera's running. We come back to the trail. My camera's still running, right? And I'm looking at it with my eyes. And I can't, I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, you're getting to look at it, right? Mm-hmm. Justin's like, hell yeah, we got the footage. Your camera's rolling, brother, camera's rolling. Play it back, shit's pointing at the ground.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I think I'd do.
It's dumbfounding. Right?
Even when he stepped into the shadow, there was a second because of the imagery. Yeah.
Now, so Josh, how tall are you with the suit?
6'3".
6'3".
6'3".
Now,
Imagine these things are.
So you're on the smaller side.
Yeah, but imagine somebody seeing that on the side of the road. Are they gonna know how tall that is?
Right. And if I'm like this, like,
You're looking up.
not a chance in
easily.
hell am I playing bravado
No.
with this. There's no machismo coming out even if I'm, you know,
He just
a
said
few
I
feet
was
away.
buff, by the way. You heard that.
I said you were what?
Buff.
Yeah.
You didn't want to go toe to toe.
In the suit. I would not go, I mean, so that's 6 foot 3, 4, and you know, it would scare the crap out of me. I mean, that's the thing is, you know, we can play machismo all day long and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to shoot one.
Right.
And how many hunters see that and turn and then see that, maybe even more human, and just think, they can't do it. I can't do it, you know? That's a question I'm going to ask you tomorrow.
I had a Ruger
Whether
Red
or not to
Hawk
shoot
on my
one.
hip, 44 Magnum.
Mm-hmm.
Had it been in my hand, I'd have shot because I was so scared. Mm-hmm. Right, I would have been able to easily make it up in my mind that thing was going to do me harm.
Let me tell you a story about this fella right here up in Canada. One of your cousins up in Canada. It's a friend of mine. He will not tell this story on camera, and he's only shared it with very few people. And he's seen them twice. The second time was actually with the chief of police, and they watched it. All right, but the first time, he tripped and he fell. Right, and he was on the ground. It was this close. He was on the ground, and he looked up at this. And instinct, he grabbed his gun, swung the gun around. And when he swung the gun around, He said what he saw in the face, we're talking 3 feet. We're not talking 20 feet of blurs. He said what he saw in the face was just abject disappointment. Like he realized it was here to help him. And he saw disappointment in the face. And then the creature just took, and he said he floated through the forest like nobody's business. I think with some screaming. And he lifted up the gun and he watched it continue to go. And he sat there and he said he never felt more guilty in his whole life that he didn't trust it.
Right.
So you see, and that's one of the interesting things about this we get into is the personality of you guys. Some of you guys are nice. You hear stories of others that are not so nice, and that's the part that puts the fear factor in it.
Right.
What if you bump into one that is aggressive?
Well, I think a lot of it's culture too, because like down here in the South, everybody's a little meaner with the heat and shit. And then West Coast, you have everybody's a little bit more hippie, nicer. So your reports out of the West Coast generally are of a nice interaction, a forest friend.
Except for Southern Oregon, Northern California, there's a spot there there's a lot of aggressive reports out of there.
Well, you got down here, oh, that thing was going to kill us every single time. It's because that's how people are wired, down here. My thought. So, a couple questions. Last, wrap it up.
Have a seat, big fella.
My buddy Kentucky Dan wanted me to ask you, where is it?
I mean, the suits are getting better and better all the time. You could go pull a hoax right now on a trail somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
But here, you might get shot at. That's one of the things people forget.
100%.
Oh, there's always hoaxing, It's like, you realize what? People are taking their life into their hands if they're going to go hoax because they might get shot.
Right. So, okay, Daniel wants to know, throughout your Bigfoot investigation, from field work and examining casts, interviewing eyewitnesses, and reflecting on your own personal experiences, was there ever a moment when you realized you might have made a mistake that hindered your ability to find the information you were seeking? And if so, what mistake?
Generalized answer. First of all, I'm not a Bigfoot researcher. I'm a documentary filmmaker who's interested in the phenomenon. And I've had my experiences. So I always want to differentiate myself from actual researchers to give them more respect. Cliff Barrickman deserves a lot more respect in terms of research than I do. I'm a filmmaker. Secondly, to answer the question, overall, I think the mistake is getting caught up in the belief that 100 trail cams is going to do the job, is the gadgetry. Oh, wait till we get a thermal drone. Then we'll get it. Get a better drone, a better thermal camera. That'll do it. Make sure you run the audio recorder all night and then go back and listen for, that'll get, it's like we could go on forever. And also one thing I was saying earlier is you can't masquerade that as science. That's not science. That's just observational technology, And I think that's a mistake. So the question was, what's the mistake? It's that. I think I would rather spend more personal time and let it connect. And the whole Tennessee telepathy thing, I left because I was not ready.
Right.
I'd like to be ready now. I'd like to just stay. Turn the cameras off, turn the recorders off, and just stay.
Good luck. Okay, last question. Nothing to do with Bigfoot. You're a survival expert, so I got to ask this question. World looks like it's going to shit in a handbag.
Well, at least this side of the border does, yeah.
Right. So, I know a lot of buddies of mine are all like, hey, we're going to live off the land. We're going to go into the woods and we'll be fine. How long does a person coming from the environment we're in now to, okay, tomorrow we're heading to the woods bugging out? How long can somebody possibly live off the land? You've done it. So how long can it happen before you and your family starve to death?
I love that question. You know why I love that question? Because for many years, Survivorman was damn near the patron saint of preppers, right? Survival TV show, preppers love Survivorman. I think, with no disrespect, I think prepping is a big joke. The reason why I think it's a big joke is this. First of all, the imagery is Hollywood. People picture themselves sitting on their porch or behind it with their shotgun. Nobody's coming up here. They're not getting my cans of beans. No way. I ain't gonna. They don't think about, well, actually, your entire friggin' neighborhood is shot to shit. And don't forget your mother is 6 blocks away and your daughter showed up with her best friend whose house was destroyed. And can they come in? all of a sudden your 3-year supply of food in the bunker is going to last a few months because now you're helping people out. So you're not going to sit there and go, get out of here, Josh. You know, get off, Stacy. You're not staying with, you know, I'm going to help Stacy and his family. I'm going to help. That's what's going to happen. You're going to help people because they're coming to you because you got maybe a 3-month supply of cans. Secondly, you're a target. Everybody knows where, like people know, you become the target all of a sudden. Did you know Stacy Brown Jr.'s got a bus buried in the backyard with a 2-year supply of cans
and
of
kids.
food? You know, that you're a target now. That knowledge gets out. Thirdly, what happened? If it's a nuclear kind of thing, is the water tainted? Are the deers tainted? Like everything we would hunt, is it tainted? Like, you know, can we even go out and can we be Survivorman and be in a natural location that has had a cloud of nuclear waste fly over it? It's all destroyed. But to answer your question on the simple form, how long? I think with the right skill set, indefinitely. What is a big part of that skill set? Breaking in, pilfering, stealing. The world's gone to shit, so who cares? When I teach survival for the Armageddon, I say, do you know where everything is in behind all the industrial buildings? You know, you get a fire going, where do they stock pallets of wood? You know, like that's the reality of prepping and survival when shit hits the fan, is it's hit the fan for you and everybody. And you're not just gonna sit in your nice little bunker in Colorado and fend off people and go out and get the odd deer. That's a Hollywood. And it's a vanilla version of what it's gonna be like. It's gonna be bad. And you're going to need to team up with people. And you know what? If I got to go and save my buddy Stacy Brown Jr., who lives 18 miles away, I'm going to go do it. Because they're not well off, and something happened, and you know somebody got killed. I'm going to go. That's what's really going to happen. You know?
Right.
So, but it could be if the lands are good, and it's not a cloud of nuclear waste. With the right skill set, if you have it. Right? I mean, you don't just know how to use a bow and arrow like that.
Right.
It's a very tough skill to master. But if you have the skills of hunting and fishing, sure, I'd say indefinitely.
Okay.
You know, I got a little cabin in northern Canada. If you said, that's it, Les, you're locked up there, fine. I'm living off lake trout for the rest of my life.
All right.
You know, go get the odd moose. So I'd say, yeah, indefinitely. So that's the positive side of it.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, I read some shit online where like you wouldn't make it past a year, and I'm like,
Not without a skill set. If all you do is watch Survivorman, yeah, you ain't making it past a year. You got to go out and actually live this shit.
You got to get the Survivorman coloring book. That
then
way
you're good.
You know everything.
Good.
So, well, brother, thank you so much for doing this. You know, after my dad died, you didn't even know, and I didn't know you had told him this, or you had some conversation with him, and then he passes away like the day after you leave. 2 days later, this massive box shows up for him with everything you ever did in it. Broke my heart to see it, you know, but
it broke my heart when I realized I'd sent it.
Yeah, well, bro, that was a solid ass move, and I'll always respect you for that. And you know,
thank you.
Consider you a friend.
Your family was really great to me. That was one of the great joys of messing around with you on those 2 silly films we made that not too many people know about, and maybe they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Your mom and dad were amazing hosts to me, and your dad and I had lots of great talks. It was good.
Brother,
thanks.
Thank you much, man.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for watching the Bigfoot Underground. If you like what you saw, please share this, subscribe, and hit that little bell notification button down there so that you can be notified of every time we drop new content. I'm Stacy Brown. Thank you for tuning in.